What is up, B fam? Welcome to another fun Friday episode. And we are so excited today because we have a special guest, Stevie. She's from the Misfit Mom Life. And Stevie and I actually met on Instagram, one of these Instagram relationships where our life is really happening in like a parallel universe, but she's in Oklahoma and I'm here in Texas. And something about just her and my life connected instantly. And she has a love for the outdoors as well. But the difference in our two lives is Stevie does this hiking and this outdoor with a kid packed on her and other children with her. She is a homeschool mom. And so, where she has learned this love that she has for outdoors, she's taking her kids along with her. So, in just a minute, we're going to really dig in. And I want her to tell you and share with you what it's like to get outdoors and start hiking with the kids in tow, with your whole family. So, stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back. And so I am ready to introduce you to Stevie. So, Stevie, will you tell our B fam, our blended family community here, just a little bit about your family, how long you've been married, kids, where you live, what's like your career right now, what's going on in your life?
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. This is super exciting to be on my first podcast, YouTube. So this is really, really fun. So a little bit about me. Well, gosh, where to start? Well, I was born in California, which is like an amazing place to live, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Then when I was 5, I moved to Oklahoma. And then fast forward, I got married at a very young age. I got married at 19. I found out that I was pregnant with my oldest right before I graduated. And so my boyfriend and we talked it over the summer, decided to get married. And then kind of everything was happy. We bought a house. Okay, maybe things are going to work out. And then we had our second child, my oldest daughter. And then unfortunately, that marriage ended in divorce. And we kind of went through kind of a rocky divorce, a really rocky divorce. But then in 2007, I met my now husband, and we've been married, I hope this is correct, almost 16 years. Yeah, 16 years. Um, and so that's super exciting. So we met in 2007, and then we had our first daughter together in 2008. So then we had 3 children at that time. I was kind of working part-time outside the home. My husband was just getting started in his self-employment business, which he's in the landscape industry. And then anyways, we just found ourselves in a situation like 2014. I'm fast forwarding a whole bunch. 2014, where at that point I had gone back to work full time in the finance industry and was working all the time away from my family, and I traveled for my job. And the Lord really kind of, a little backstory, just a few years before that, the Lord just really started to change my life dramatically and just put a strong desire in my heart to be a stay-at-home mom. And I didn't even know homeschooling was on the radar at that point. But then 2014, we had our son, our 4th baby, and I went back to work for a day and a half. And I was like, nope, this cannot be. I cannot go back to work. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I had just actually began homeschooling my 6-year-old at the time. And it was kind of like a temporary thing. And my mom was going to help out when I went back to work. But God just laid it on my heart, like this was now going to be my thing, homeschooling and staying at home. And then that very next year, I brought home my 2 older children. So I have 4 children at that time, 2015. And then God just laid it on our heart that we ended up having 2 more babies later between 2015 and present. So we have 6 children all together. And I
Wow.
say 6 children together because I mentioned that my divorce was pretty rocky. Just kind of a series of unfortunate events happened with my ex-husband, and my husband ended up legally adopting my older two. And so
Okay.
they took on his last name, and he's their dad. And honestly, that story could have ended that way with my ex-husband, and we never saw him ever again. But actually, it has a very beautiful ending that is a story for another day. But anyways, yeah, we have 6 children. Our oldest, he's married, and we have 2 grandbabies. So we have
Oh,
6 kids and 2 grandbabies and a daughter-in-law. As far as careers, my husband is still self-employed nearly a decade later, and I got into social media a few years ago. That's where my passion is. I have 2 social media platforms. One is like my main one that I use for homeschooling and motherhood and helping women just to become confident in themselves. And that's kind of leading into where I became a health and wellness coach. And then my other account is my new favorite one that I started last year. It's all about family adventures in hiking and camping in Oklahoma.
okay. And so the one I follow, the Misfit Mom Life, which one is that?
Yes. That's my main one. That's all about motherhood and homeschooling and my, journey with my family and just all about family and school and all that.
Okay. I need to go follow. I don't think I followed the other one. I need to follow both.
Yeah, I know it's hard. Once you have 2 accounts, it's like it goes back and forth, and I try to help post to the other one, but just gets
Yes.
crazy.
Well, there's so much. I mean, and I didn't know all of your story. I know little bits and pieces that we've connected on, and just how much it really does mirror each other, because I got pregnant my senior year, and also I married, my kid's dad, and it also didn't end well. I met Randall in 2007. We married in
Oh my
2008. Like,
gosh.
so many life things happening. And what I love about that is, just like in your story and mine, like seeing God really come through in the process, and how it is all this journey that we're on. I'm sure you've seen that as well,
Oh yeah.
where we're on this journey and one thing leads to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. It's like you think you want to get it all figured out so you can just be like content in life. And then it's like,
Right.
let's just shake it up a little bit. And
Exactly.
just a little bit of backstory of why I connected with Stevie so much is, I remember we were selling our house. We were getting ready to do the RV life, and she had come on her social media alive with her husband, and they were just sitting there talking about that they were selling their house, but they were taking their kids on the road with them, and they were going to be doing RV life and traveling and exploring and doing their businesses on the road, just like we were planning. And I just immediately reached out to her, like, oh my gosh, like in the DMs, like, we're doing this too. Your story sounds like my story. And what's really wild is her story and my story both into the same. We both took our
Yep.
house off the market. We both are in this transition of, okay, God, we thought this is what you were wanting us to do, and now this is different. So we're trying to figure out, okay, like, what's next. And so I love the part of your story where you have decided to just embrace your home state, correct?
Yep. Yep. That's where that travel account was completely born out of last fall.
And so that's where I started seeing her going on these trips. Like, she started going on these hiking adventures. And I probably is the same with you, but when you have a lot of kids and you're trying to
Yes.
find fun things to do, like, you don't want to have to go to a place where you're paying $20 a head or what.
Absolutely not. No.
And so there is opportunity where you could take your kids to go do stuff. But if you have multiple children, you're having to pay for every single head going in the door. And it just really adds up. But you don't want to stop your adventure because
Yep.
of that. And so, what really got your family into hiking? Was that it? Or like, what really sparked that love of hiking or trying out hiking?
Well, I mean, honestly, I love adventures, and that was the whole kind of what happened last fall, like you mentioned. And this is where I was going to kind of talk about that. We had, really wanted to just go full time into adventuring, and it really hit us like 3 years ago. We have been in our home state. We both, well, like I said, I was born in California, moved here when I was 5, but my husband's lived here all his life. I've pretty much been here all of my life. we're just ready to see new things. And it's so crazy is when you look at adventures, you think like when I look at travel accounts on Instagram or YouTube, I think of like, the Grand Canyon, Utah, Yosemite, like that's where the real hiking adventures are, up in the mountains, Oklahoma, all I think of is just prairie lands and flatlands, and there ain't nothing here but red dirt in Oklahoma. And so I have this love for adventure, and we've always been a family that, like you mentioned, it's so expensive trying to do a lot of like traditional activities, like going to the movies. Well, it's nearly $100 if we took all of our kids, and, snacks and all that. So it's like, okay, well, how can we have that adventurous spirit, but it not cost an arm and a leg? And since I've been homeschooling, we do go to the parks a lot, but my son, he loves skate parks. So we're always doing something that's like as far as free. So playgrounds, splash pads, that kind of stuff. We've always been an outdoorsy type family and doing adventures like that. But I was like, okay, I've got to get where we can go on more actual like adventures. And so there's a couple places around town that do have hiking. But I'm like, I want to get into more extreme hiking, not just like a paved path around a hill. Like I want to like
Mm.
actually break a sweat while I'm hiking. And so we just started looking for local areas where we could hike that would be within like an hour's drive. And that's kind of where it started.
Mm.
And yeah, so that's where we find ourselves just really going all crazy around the area where we live in and finding every spot we can.
Man, I love that. So much of that because I think we do get stuck like in our bubble of like people just sometimes can't wait to get out of their hometown or wait to
Yep.
get out and explore
Yep.
the world. And you're so right. It's like we see what's right here within our territory, but we
Hmm.
don't think about. I love that you said within an hour, and that's where y'all
Yes.
started, I'm sure, because that probably keeps you very busy just going in with the hour radius.
Yes.
But as y'all, because this is my mindset that I had started like toying with as well, is like, okay, then we can go 2 hours out, and see
Yep.
how much adventure we can find there. And then we can go 3 hours out. So I love that. And even with the hill, like you're saying in my area, it's kind of like flatlands, not really anything to hike because here in Texas is very, especially where we're at, South Texas, there's not a lot of like hiking up like mountains, like if you were to go to Colorado,
Right.
but you can go and find some trails and you can go through the woods like that. But if we drive just like 3 hours north, then there are like bigger hills and it
Yeah.
is like more of a hike
Oh
whichever
yeah.
wherever we go, and it's a lot more extreme in that way. So I think it's cool that you take the perspective of let me find what I do have control over, what I can have fun with, how can I enjoy. And so how many did you say, how many kids are still at home right now?
So we have 4, 5-ish at home. My older daughter, she's in college and she was
Oh,
going to
okay.
move to the dorms and then ended up that she wanted to stay at home and save money. And so that's why I say we have 4, but technically 5. But she's never here. She's so busy with school and work that it's almost like she doesn't live here. So
Oh,
definitely 4 kids living here full time.
oh, okay. So the ones you're homeschooling is three of them then, because one is toddler.
Yes, yes. So it'd be our 15, 8, 5, and then our toddler. But he thinks that he's also homeschooling because he loves to join in. So
Oh, I love that. Yes, because my other account is early childhood. And so that's, yes, they are definitely learning and absorbing and all these adventures
oh
y'all are
yes.
going on. I know for sure um, is benefiting in that way. So do you, let's see, uh, when I just, this wasn't a planned question, but when you're homeschooling, because I do have a lot of people that reach out and ask about homeschooling, are these adventures that you include in your day? Or is this like a weekend, evening thing when your husband is available as well?
Well, as far as like even just the last several years, I mean, my husband just has crazy work schedule. And so I've been the main one during the day where we go to the park. I mean, our kids, especially with our 8-year-old son, he needs outdoor activity. Um, I need outdoor activity. I need to be out in the sunshine. I need to just be out in the fresh air. And so definitely it's helped being able to get out during the day. When I say we homeschool, we definitely follow we don't follow a traditional homeschool path. We definitely are more like if you took a spectrum of home education, there's like the very by the book traditional, and then all the way on the other side is like unschooling, and we're kind of like right in the middle. And that's kind of where I find ourselves. We love to be outside in nature, and I feel like my kids pick up a lot of stuff. We listen to a lot of podcasts outside. Um, and that like read alouds and podcasts while we're hiking, we're talking about nature and just different things that we've been learning, opening up conversations. So definitely we make that part of our school day when we can.
Well, I'm definitely going to have you back on here just to talk about homeschooling. Like I said, it is such a huge thing. I think COVID really, it was already like a lot of people considering it just because of the way school systems are. But then I think COVID really like drove that in for a lot of people. And so
Right.
I think I need to have you on and we just talk about homeschooling, unschooling, because I'm hearing the terminology all around, but I haven't ever experienced. I taught in the public school system for 10 years. So I didn't ever like I was all for public school. And I still think that it has
Right.
its place and it's necessary. I think there's some revamping that needs to take place there. And so we'll definitely have more conversation on that because I know there's so many moms out there, bio moms and stepmoms that wonder, is this the right thing for me? Should I do this with my kids? And it opens up this opportunity to learn a lot of things through life experiences and not like
Absolutely.
forced education, because you do learn so much being outdoors and exploring and seeing how nature, like not just reading it in a textbook, but how a seed actually does form and pollinate and all of those things. You get
Right.
to see that when you're out in the nature instead of just learning and reading about it. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad that that's what I was wondering. Like, is this part of like your day or with your husband? Is this something y'all do? Because I do remember also seeing that one of y'all's main driving forces was y'all's life was so busy. And I'm not going to say disconnected necessarily, but that your husband was so busy running his own business that y'all felt like y'all weren't really getting that family time together, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And this is so crazy. When I became a stay-at-home mom, we started homeschooling. I thought, well, like I'm gonna have I don't know more. I want to say this loosely, free time because I didn't have to be anywhere at a specific time and be gone. And in a sense, yes, that is absolutely true. I don't have to report to a job every morning or anything like that. But you can still get caught up in the busyness of home management. And I also work for my husband part time. So keeping up with that and um, just in general, like I said, home management, that's cleaning,
Mhm.
appointments, paying bills, keeping up with making sure you've got the, up to date insurance card in your car, all of that.
Mhm.
And then just growing your businesses, we have these side business and it can take a mental toll. And I found myself where I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a stay at home mom and we stay at home and I feel like I'm trapped to my home, trapped to busyness. Like I've got chains on. I'm like, no, I don't have to do that. It's not why I became a stay at home mom, to feel that trapped feeling. I want to be able to have that freedom to go out and just be. And my husband too. And he tries. Right now, it's just a kind of a crazy thing with his schedule, but hopefully very soon, like around Memorial Day weekend, he'll be able to enjoy more time off. So that's what we're headed towards.
Man. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. I think maybe it's the stage of life you go through, because I feel like that was the same thing. Like, what are we doing here? Because your house will never be clean. All as soon as it's cleaned, it's unclean
Messy.
again because yes. So it's a never ending job and you can get stuck in this rut and this cycle of life just doing the same thing every day. And the busyness, yes, that's where when I really started this venture, it was just like I am tired of being just busy. I'm tired of all my family and friends saying, "You're just so busy. You're just so busy," even though they still say that. I'm like, I want to be intentional with the relationships in my life.
Yes.
And I think once your kids start getting older, like ours have, that you begin to realize, oh crap, like, this time is
Oh yeah,
limited.
big time.
Yes,
Yep.
with this time is limited. We need to really hone in and make the most of it. And so, what is still like a positive thing that you've seen come out of y'all being more intentional with this hiking?
Well, the main thing is just it allows our brains to just rest. And one of the really neat things about when you would just kind of take a pause in your day and go do something that, I mean, unless it's a place you visited over and over again, but you just get out and you're allowed to like breathe fresh air and see the sunshine, hear the birds chirp, and you're just away from the busyness of maybe just sometimes trapped indoors. It allows you to just think clearly. And I felt like, especially when we've traveled, even if it's just 24 hours, I feel like our time just lasts forever.
Mm.
Because we're creating new experience. And this is actually something I read about, that when you create new experiences, it just feels like time extends. It's actually a way to like pause that beautiful memory that you're creating. And that's so true. Like our weekends, even though it was only 24 hours, feels like it's 3 days. And I just love that because I feel like sometimes we're in just this fast motion of life, and it just gives pause and slows everything down. Um, and also I have ADHD. So just for some reason being in nature, it just helps. I don't know if it's the repetition of when I'm hiking. I've mentioned this before in a reel. When I hike, I unintentionally count steps where I'm hiking. And I don't know, it just that repeated pattern, it just helps my brain. It's just
Mm.
very calming and soothing. And I know for my kids, just being outdoors. And like I said, my son, I mean, obviously he's a boy. He just wants to climb trees and rocks. So
Man, oh gosh, it's so much wisdom in just like, and what you're saying also like lines up so much with what we've seen in our life, and that we believe here at Enjoying Your Blended Family, which is that you create these experiences. And it's so true. These are creating these moments that are going to bond your family. And I hadn't heard that that it's like time is pausing, like slowing down, but I
yes.
have experience now that you're saying it out loud. I'm like, yes. I mean, there are some times that I feel like it's going too fast and I'm like, no, I just want to stay in this moment. But it does. I just came back from a trip with my stepdaughter. I went up to see her in Alabama, and it's like you live there all of a sudden. It's like you feel
Yep.
like you've been there forever and this is home. That's how, like, even a campsite, you can start saying, let's go back home. And you mean your campsite, because that feels
Yep.
like your home. So let me ask you this. Actually, what we're going to do is because I want to respect your time as well. And I want to make sure we get to all of these tips. So, right after this, Stevie's going to share with us some of the ways that you can get started. If you're hearing this, and this is the baby step of it, the going and the hiking, because they take the whole family camping and they enjoy all the outdoors. But if you are like, okay, I'm hearing this, my life is busy, I want to be able to slow down and create these moments with my family as well, but I don't know where to start. We're going to have Stevie share with us like what is that place to start right after this.
It's time to have some more blended family fun. Yeah, are you ready?
What was that?
I've been really working on this song. What do you think?
Sure. It's great, babe.
Well, it goes along with how to enjoy your blended family. You know, the 5 dates to discover fun in your step family, the greatest thing since sliced bread for blended families.
Okay, I get it now. I feel your excitement. But why don't you tell them about it instead of singing it to them?
Wow, okay, shut me down. Why don't you? All right, let me try. When you have more fun together, you see less blended family drama. But we can get so caught up in life and problems that we miss out on really enjoying our family. So we'll walk you through 5 dates where you'll discover more fun your family loves and have a great plan to keep it going. How's that?
Pretty good. Short and sweet. I know that got them way more excited about all the fun possibilities they can experience with their family than your song did.
What? Seriously?
Well, you could have also told them that it not only creates more fun in their whole family doing this, but it also adds more fun in their marriage and gives them new ways to connect with their kids individually. It's also great for building that step-parent relationship. You could have said all that too.
I don't think you really appreciated all the work that I put in on that song.
Anyways, How to Enjoy Your Blended Family, 5 Dates to Discover Fun in Your Stepfamily is available for you today. Discover more fun and you'll see less problems. The link to get started is in the show notes of this episode.
Have more fun with your blended family and go on these 5 dates today. You'll be so glad you did. Yeah, yeah.
Really? You had to go there again. Let's get back to this episode. Hey, Stevie, so are you ready to share with us your best tips and tricks for hiking?
Absolutely. Okay. You got to remember the water and the snacks. Even
Do
if
you
it's
carry just a water bottle or like the packs?
we are moving towards that. They're actually very expensive for all of us to have our own. But we are moving towards that. We're actually just eyeing those at Bass Pro Shop the other night because it's going to make our lives a lot more simple, having everybody have their own waters. But water is almost the exact first thing that everybody starts complaining about is I need a drink, I'm thirsty, or I need a snack. So definitely if you're hiking with young ones, that's just essential. You cannot leave the house. Even if you have to stop at a gas station and grab snacks or water, you have to have that. Also clothing. So, and proper footwear, because this will just help. My threshold of what I can tolerate, if I was hiking by myself, I could tolerate a lot. I could tolerate heat. I could tolerate cold. I've actually taught myself to do that this past winter. And I don't really get tired. I get actually more energetic. But I got to remember my kids are toting behind me, and my threshold of what I can tolerate, theirs is a lot less. And so I just have to slow down almost and remember that should be the reverse. I'm the old lady, okay? I should be the one that has to slow down, but that's not the case. So just kind of remembering that, oh yeah, I've got little ones with me, and just creating realistic expectations for them just because, or for the situation in itself, because I can't expect my 5-year-old to go on a 5-mile hike, every single Saturday. I've got to build her up to that. I can't just jump into that. And that's something that I think we've been preparing for by going to the parks and the playground and paved trails, seeing how long they can go and then just increasing that time. I think we've reached our limit, and that is about 5 miles. And that's about as much as my 5-year-old can do. But here's the tip for that. We are actually, like with the Camel, the water backpacks, we're looking into hiking carriers. And you can actually carry a child, I think it's up to 40 pounds on those carriers on the back for hiking. And so that will allow my husband and I to go even farther distances with our toddler and our 5-year-old, because we can just carry them when we carry our toddler, but especially our 5-year-old if she can't make it past that 4 to 5 mile mark. And then
do you have a certain carrier because I have a carrier that I carry the grandbaby with, but when I take her on these walks in the woods and stuff, it's front face, like she's having to face me, and she's not about that. She's like trying to get her head. She wants to look around. So I end up pulling her out and holding her through it. And it's like holding a 20-pound weight.
Oh yeah. And your biceps are like burning.
Yes.
Well, how old is she?
She will be a year next month.
Okay, yeah. She would actually, just depending on her weight, she'd probably be perfect for one of the hiking backpacks. So we have a front carry, and that's what I've been using.
Okay.
But my toddler is getting so tall that I'm having to push his head to the side so I can see where I'm going. It's an Ergo brand. I've had it forever. It's so worn out and old looking, but it's near and dear to my heart because I've carried the last 3 babies with it. But
Oh,
it can do a back carry, but those hiking backpacks, they have like a sturdy frame and you can actually put the child on yourself without any assistance from anybody else. Um, and so that's what they're kind of pricey. And we need 2 of them. So we're just kind of either trying to find it used or just save up and get some good ones. But I'm trying to look at my notes really quick to different things. Definitely, this is another thing that I would, this one's a hard one for me because I get really triggered. This is one of my triggers with kids. If someone is like in a bad mood and I can use, that's something I've worked past, but I get to a point where like, too much complaining and bad attitude triggers me to like, what, why are you in a bad mood, stop, so it's pushing past because you've got to be realistic with kids, and this doesn't just mean little kids, this is also teens as well. Being able to push past and just continue to be positive while you're on that hike. And I mentioned before that we listen to audiobooks and podcasts, and that really helps, or get conversation cards to carry on your backpack so that you can have conversations going while you're hiking. It keeps their minds off of, I'm tired, I don't want to do this,
how
yeah.
beautiful that is, though, because we talk a lot about those shoulder to shoulder conversation moments that you can get
Right.
so much out, especially your teens. You can get so much out of them when you're not having to like look at each other. So having these conversations where they're beside you or behind you and you have these cards where you're being very intentional, because Randall and I use those for our date nights and we learned so much about each other, even
Oh, I
15,
know.
16 years later. So to have that is a great idea to go ahead and print them out. Is there a certain kind that you use and certain podcasts that you recommend that are good for the age range that you have?
We started listening to a podcast. I think it's called like the Family Road Trip, and it's actually, the series that we're doing is the Exodus. I think that's what it's called, Family Road Trip. It's actually they kind of recommend. I mean, you can use it for a hike too, but their whole thing is listening to the Bible while you're on a car trip and you're
Oh, I
having
love
to
that.
travel a lot. But my 5-year-old absolutely loves that, and it's about a 10 to 12 minute little episode. But they love that, or getting audiobooks. And you don't necessarily, this can get kind of pricey. Audiobooks can, if you're always ordering through Amazon, but you can get audiobooks. We get them locally through our library and then just listen to them for free. And we've done, like the Laura Ingalls Wilder series or any like little novel that we're on, like in our homeschool or anything like that.
Oh, that is cool. I'm thinking of like Randall and his Hank the Cow Dog because he used to have all these
Oh
tapes. I
yeah.
bet they have some
They
stuff.
do,
But
they do. Yeah. That's another one that my 8-year-old's obsessed with is Hank the Cow Dog.
really, see, I haven't ever listened to him, but we have all these cassette tapes from his childhood. And when he would get grounded, he would listen to these.
Yeah.
Hank the Cow Dog. And so, yes, and you mentioned the library because that is a way, like our library has different platforms that you can rent books from for free. And they don't always have everything you're looking for, but I always start with what's free at the library. And then if I can't find it there, then I'll go pay for it in Audible if it's something that I really want to listen to. But this is such a cool idea of, we've done it twice now, I think, on a road trip. I've never done it while hiking, listening to a podcast or an audio book with the kids, but their fond memories they have of road trips is when we did listen to this storyline on this long, it makes it go by so much faster.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. It makes it much easier. Okay. So that was so we had water and snacks. Was that
Yes.
one combined together?
That's an essential.
Then clothing.
Yep. And I was just going to mention too about the clothing, like sunglasses, for hot weather, sunglasses or a hat. It really, really helps because when it's bright out and your kids are walking in the heat, I mean, if they don't have a hat or sunglasses, and then cold weather, investing in base layers, beanies for your kids, making sure they're wearing wool socks. I mean, that's just in general if you're going to be out in the cold, but it has really helped. I know it can be kind of pricey if you have a lot of kids, but try, like we always try to buy generic a generic color like black or gray. That way it can be passed down to
Yes.
kids, whether they're a boy or girl. But it really helps with I'm cold or I don't want to get out. And then it would be convenient if we could all afford like rain gear, boots and jackets, that too, because then our adventures literally would never have to stop. I mean, I can't think of anything at that point that would stop us. But yeah, and then podcasts and just pushing past any attitudes, which can be hard.
Any attitude. Yes. And what you were saying, yeah, when we went camping a few weeks ago with my stepdaughter, it was it was hailing while we were there.
Oh
And
gosh.
we thought, oh no, but we just put on some ponchos that we had packed, and we weren't hiking in the hail. We stayed in the tent. That was during the early morning mostly, but when we didn't let the rain stop us. We were hiking through the trails, even in the rain, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I think in our head, we can get like somebody told us that you'll catch a cold if you go outside when it's
Right,
raining and you get
that's just
wet.
not true.
And we want to be good moms, so we're not going to take our kids outside when it's raining or get wet, but it's okay. I mean, we're going to do everything safely. Has there been, well, first, is that the tips? I don't want to cut you off before
Yeah,
you
and
share.
just definitely don't try to take your toddler hiking without a carrier and then get frustrated when they're taking too long or they're picking up rocks. Like, create those realistic expectations, get and invest in a good baby carrier. And a lot of moms don't use those. And so when they get into hiking, they're like, well, my baby or my toddler won't sit still in them. Well, it's because you have to train them to be in the carriers. And my toddler, I mean, all of my children, they don't know any different. I mean, they sit in those things, they nap in them. That's another thing. Just one more tip. A lot of moms kind of get trapped in the idea that they get stuck where I have to have my child take a nap. My toddler can only take a nap in these sleep schedules. And my toddler knows, because I've trained him, he can take naps in the baby carrier. We don't let baby naps or toddler naps prevent us, because we would never get out of the house if we did. And just training them to be able to fall asleep in that carrier, it makes it so much easier to transition to hiking. We'll actually plan hiking around my toddler's naps because he'll just nap in the carrier. So
Wow, that is so smart, because yes, I feel like I'm a new mom again, just having the grandbaby all the time. And it's like you have to stop everything, because it's okay. Well, I need her to nap from this time to this time. That way, by the time we get home or we do this and this, it all like revolves around, and you just kind of want to break for an hour or two. So sometimes, you cherish those nap times as well, but to put those together. And I have been out hiking, a friend and I say hiking, we were just in the woods over here by my house, but we've gone and she's fallen asleep in the carrier and she just sleeps. And then my friend and I got this quality time together to have these conversations while we're walking, and the baby slept. And then, so we're rejuvenated. She's rejuvenated when she wakes up. So yeah, I'm glad that you added that in there as well. And I really feel like we could probably talk. I mean, we're both passionate about this, so we could probably talk about this forever, but I do want to respect your time. Is there anything else that you want to add, though, for any mamas that are wanting to do this that you haven't said yet?
Just to start, just do it. Don't let the nap to hold you back, or feeling again, oh, we have so much stuff to do at the house. Like, there will always be stuff to do. Like, that's never going to go away. You just have to be super intentional and get out and just start doing it. Even if it's 2 days a week, like, okay, Wednesday, Friday, we're going from 1 to 4 o'clock somewhere, I don't know. And then just do it and commit to it. And don't let anything get in the way of that. And if you need to start small, start in your local parks and walk around the trail and see how your kids do, and just build from there.
Great advice. Yes. I do hope that so many of you that have been feeling like you're stuck and trapped inside your house during mom life, because so many women just feel the pressure of mom life, and the mental health right now is just insane. And I can see how being trapped, feeling like you're trapped inside your house, feeling like you can't have friends, you can't do this, making those times like, okay, let's get out. Like if you talk to a doctor, a psychologist, a therapist, they're going to say, like, if you're having any of these issues, get outdoors. Outdoors is a huge
Absolutely.
thing. Physical activity is a huge benefit to this. And so these are things that just getting outside is going to not only help you mentally, it's going to help your children, your kids. That we have a lot of kids in our community that have ADHD, including my own children. It helps get them out and moving while they're learning,
Yes.
or just being in the weekend. Like, oh, can it just be a school day already? For those of you that kids go to public school and the weekends just seem overwhelming. If you have a lot of kids because your blended family is big, or you have, your stepchildren come for the weekend and you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, getting outside is going to solve so many of those problems. So
So
thank
many
you.
problems.
Yes. Thank you, Stevie, for sharing all of those tips so that they can get started. We will have you on again because I do want to talk about the homeschooling. I also, just a quick plug for Stevie before she tells us where we can find her on social media. She is also my new health coach. And so we just started this journey this week, and she's helping me get all set up with the app and the eating and the routine that I'm getting into. So if that's something as well, if you're like, okay, I want to hike, but I can't even walk to the mailbox without getting winded, or going up and
Right.
down the stairs without getting winded. So that's not for me. Then this might be something that you can join these two things together. And maybe it's a slow start, like we're talking about, where you're going and you're walking around the trail or walking around your block with your kids, and build up your own stamina. And then that way your kids are also getting that benefit, and then you grow from that. So we'll have her back on so we can talk about some of that in your health journey as well. But for right now, I think you've got enough homework or things to put into practice. I know that you've learned some valuable stuff, not just about hiking, but just life and parenting and motherhood in general. So Stevie, where can they find you to get more inspiration or hope or tips for all of this?
My main platform on Instagram is the Misfit Mom Life. And then my second platform, which is kind of centered towards all about Oklahoma traveling and hiking and camping, that's the theokcampfam. And they're both on Instagram.
Okay. Awesome. 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 So go follow her. We'll put it in the show notes as well. That way y'all can just do a quick click on there and be able to go and follow her, and then share us, tag her, tag us when you're out doing these adventures, tag our account so we can cheer for you and applaud you for getting out and making this happen. So until next time, guys, remember to enjoy your blended family. Bye. Thanks for joining us today. We hope this episode has been a blessing and encouraged your family journey.
Make sure you stay connected with us and join our weekly Blended Family newsletter. We send an email out every Friday morning full of support and encouragement.
And when you join, we also want to give you a free gift. So go get yours today. The link is in the show notes below.
Have an amazing day. Remember to enjoy the journey with your blended family, and we'll see you on the next episode.